Entity ID 6. Threat level orange. Storage details. Entity 6 is stored in a standard size containment cell in the entity area of Research Area 11. At least one member of TFD, the Crazies, is to be within the general vicinity of Entity 6 containment cell. Upon a breach of this entity, the testing party is to evacuate, and TFD Crazies is to recontain the entity and an increased threat level to be declared. Entity 6 can be accessed by members of the Innovation Department ranked Innovator Plus. Description: Entity 6 is an invisible hostile humanoid entity that can be only seen with NVG. Entity 6 is able to move at a speed of 2.2 meters per second, but being able to speed up if injured. The appearance of Entity 6 has been described as a naked black humanoid with no face or other distinguishing features. Entity 6 is extremely hostile and will attack any humans it can find. Its method of attack is biting, and it will continue to bite its target until death. While attacking Entity 6 can be seen for a split second, which allows those who do not have NVG to locate its position and attempt to recontain it. Entity 6 has not shown a relation to other entities and has only attacked corporation personnel. Like other mobile entities at Research Area 11, Entity 6 shows basic intelligence and is able to use its invisibility to great effect. Entity 6 is also very fast, making it almost impossible to escape. Entity 6 is not difficult to contain as it is only a threat in areas like forests and such as most breaches are unevenable and do not end up in many casualties. Test of aggression. Date of testing: 7th July 17th. Redacted. Innovator Dr. Nex. Test subjects: 1. Test events. Subject was briefed and allowed into Entity 6 containment chamber immediately after approaching Entity 6. It became extremely hostile and began chasing the test subject eventually. Entity 6 was able to catch the test subject and terminated them. Conclusion: Entity 6, while appearing calm from viewing it outside its containment chamber, becomes incredibly hostile to anyone who dares to approach it. Test to multiple subjects. Date of testing: July 17th. Redacted. Innovator Proof Raven. Test subjects: 2. Test events. The test subjects were briefed, then the test subjects were escorted to Entity 6 chamber. After that, the test subjects were briefed on the test, and the test subjects entered Entity 6's containment. Once they did that, Entity 6 started to chase them. A test subject started flailing and running about that lead to the test subjects were terminated by Entity 6. Conclusion. Entity 6 had no difference in his reaction. He did chase the test subject that started to flail and run about instead, the one slightly, if not moving. Test of aggression 2. Date of testing July 19th, redacted. Innovator Dr. Health. Test subjects 3. This test had to be reattempted from 2 subjects to 3 due to the nature of Entity 6. SAD personnel were informed of the test due to the scale of the test subjects to be brought into it. Dr. Turtle, a newly made novice, was spectating this test. 3 test subjects were collected from the test subject zone and extorted to Entity 6 outer chamber. They were fully instructed on what to do once entering. One is given on purpose to lure Entity 6 away from the others. Upon entering, 2 of the test subjects quickly jumped to Entity 6. However, the 3rd test subject was fine, keeping a constant distance from the shadow. I decided to allow the test, during which the shadow managed to jump onto the test subject's head while Entity 6 was on the test subject's head. The test subject was immune to its effects. It spent a few minutes there before I instructed the test subject to move. It was upon moving that the test subject was eventually terminated by Entity 6 and the test was concluded. Conclusion. Test subjects are immune to Entity 6. If Entity 6 is on top of them, and it is entirely possible to remain to outrun the shadow for a long period of time. Entity 6 has extreme determination and is unlikely to give up on its prey. Test on time of death. Date of testing July 27th, redacted. Innovator Dr. Health. Test subjects 1. This test was conducted with 1 test subject and 2 security, a junior guard and a guard. Test subject was collected from test subject zone and fully briefed, also being told that they would perish during this test. Upon confirming that the test subject was willing to abide by these rules, he was exhorted to Entity 6 containment in Entity area. Test subject was told to enter Entity 6 containment and remain still so that the ID may get a precise recording of how long Entity 6 effects will take to kill the subject. Test subject fled about 2 seconds before remaining still, subtracted 2 seconds from the total time taken. Entity 6 struck the test subject 8 times before he succumbed, and the test subject died in exactly 10 seconds, 38 milliseconds. Entity 6 proceeded to perform its usual behaviors immediately afterwards. Conclusion. It takes 10 seconds for Entity 6 to kill someone, and 8 strikes to deliver apparent damage. These strikes happen with only a short pause pause between 8 strikes. Test versus flamethrower. Date of testing: August 7th, redacted. Innovator: prove sick myth. Test subjects: 0. Test event: a TC member was briefed about the test, and so we went to the entity's chamber. When we entered, Entity 6 was out of his chamber, breached. TC did a great job, and we contained Entity 6 in about a minute and a half. We then proceed with the test. TC entered the chamber, flirting with an assault rifle, then a flamethrower. Flamethrower had no effect on the entity. And now, the exciting thing to this day, Entity 6 was thought to be just a shadow of some sort. But when shot, it splurted blood. Casey left the chamber, hit a few times, but still good, and most importantly, alive. Conclusion: the flamethrower is useless against Entity 6, but a firearm may, in theory, kill or hurt the entity, and the entity may have a circulatory blood system of some sort. Test on behavior while crouching. Date of testing: September 1st, redacted. Innovators: Dr. MC. Test subject: 1. Test event: once I retrieved my security corps and one test subject, I was immediately followed by masked Doge facemen. Marionetti 230 included. Nonetheless, we made it to Entity 6 containment chamber. I briefly explained the actions the test subject was going to perform. Whilst in Entity 6 vicinity, when the door opened to Entity 6 chamber, Entity 6 and immediately started attacking the crouching test subject. Soon, the test subject was in critical health. Surprisingly, however, Entity 6 ended up on its head of the test subject. This in turn ended up progressing the test subject's life for a few seconds before the test subject invariably died. Conclusion: crouching in Entity 6 version does not change its behavior. However, there's a chance Entity 6 will end up on the top of your head where it cannot attack you. Test on targeting. Date of testing: September 7th, redacted. Innovator, Dr. Legend. Test subject 1. Then we got to the entity area. The security corps and test subject picked up a night vision helmet for the test. I then instructed the test subject to go in the containment chamber and to get Entity 6 attention after I instructed the security corps to shoot Entity 6 when it tested the test subject. I told him what if Entity 6 started chasing him, he should run around, but if Entity 6 kept chasing the test subject, he should exit the containment chamber. They did as I said, and when the security corps shot Entity 6, it kept on chasing the test subject, and the security corps shot Entity 6 some more, and it continued to chase the test subject, and so the security corps exited after that. After that, I had the test subject exit as well. He was escorted back to the test subject zone. Conclusion: Entity 6 will stay focused on its intended target, and it will not change targets unless they were closer to Entity 6, even when it attacked by another person. Test on vision. Date of testing: September 22, redacted. Innovator: Dr. Fives. Test subject 2. Test event: two test subjects were called and briefed. One got the helmet, one didn't get it. They both entered at the same time. Everyone in the room can clearly see that Entity 2 always went for the guy with the NVG helmet. Conclusion: indeed, the test subject with the NVG helmet gets targeted by Entity 6 first. Test on where Entity 6 can hit. Date on testing: September 5th, redacted. Innovator: Dr. Fury. Test subjects 1. At the entity area, I instructed the test subjects to get an NVG helmet, and then we headed on Entity 6 containment. There I gave the instructions for the test subject to jump on Entity 6's head. The test subject attempted to jump on Entity 6's head and was almost successful but died. The TC was able to act as the test subject and successfully jumped on Entity 6's head. There, the TC did not take damage. The TC then was able to exit Entity 6 containment without incident. Conclusion: Entity 6 cannot hit people standing on its head. Test on Entity 8. Date on testing: October 30th, redacted. Innovator: Dr. JD. Dr. Curry, requested by Dr. Rovers. Test subjects 0. I went to Entity area alongside the TC and Dr. Curry. I told them to equip Entity 8 on its flamethrower for better use of the entity. After explaining the test, the TC went inside of Entity 6 containment chamber. The TC then proceeded to infect Entity 6 with Entity 8 with its flamethrowers. Entity 6 didn't change his color since he was already infected with Entity 2. I went in the PS and used Entity 8 on Entity 6. He became green. I told the TC to and tried to get infected by Entity 8 via Entity 6. But the TC did get infected by Entity 8 through Entity 6 attacks. Conclusion: Entity 6 does get infected by Entity 8 and can spread it. His color and his shadow also changed to green. Date of testing: October 30th redacted. Innovator: Dr. Jed, Dr. Curry, Dr. Sneck. Requested by Dr. Rovis. Test subjects 0. I went to entities area alongside two TC and Dr. Curry. I told the TC to equip Entity 6 on its flamethrower for better use of the entity. After explaining the test, the TC went inside Entity 6 containment chamber. The TC then proceeded to infect Entity 6 with Entity 2 with its flamethrower. Entity 6 and its shadows became blue. No other changes were notable. Conclusion: Entity 6 becomes blue and visible when exposed to Entity 2. His shadows also become blue. Dr. Redacted. Crazy. 2 minus 1. That's what they call you? Crazy 2 minus 1. Yeah, whatever it gets to the damn point. Dr. Redacted. May you elaborate with the containment of Entity 6? We would like a full details in order to continue researching this entity. Crazy 2 minus 1. Okay, that. Okay, that fucking thing. Oh, anyways made me my squad and investigating an old snowy mountain an hour after sunset. Damn it, nothing to see here. Didn't even brief us properly on the damn thing. What they told us was village, almost like they only knew very little information about it. Black Hawk Redacted was carrying more men and a large canoe carrying a small APC. Did you see anything from the helicopter? Were you in it? Any signs of life? No, we didn't see anything. As soon as we landed, we already shared this place held an entity. This have may been the old mountain, but it felt suspiciously. Every time you investigate a new entity in a certain place, feels like someone's watching you. Dr. Redacted. I see. When you were investigating Entity 6, what was the first thing you ever saw? Crazy to 1. My squad didn't see much at first. We were investigating a small area in the mountains when suddenly we found bodies of an incident person. As we looked around, we saw this mountain turn into a small town. We didn't land in the right area. My man, we heard footsteps. It became somewhat louder. Then Crazy 3 4 was cut across his entire body. He was bleeding, crying for help. Then he was soon silenced. Is there where Entity 6 comes in? Crazy to 1. Damn it. We couldn't see what was going on. Then Crazy 7 started furring at the shadow-like being. We were pointing at the flashlights, towing it being started running in the opposite way. Then we started firing on it, and it ate most of it the bullets while it was running. It didn't do a damn thing. I was issued. My man grabbed the redacted launcher from our APC. The entity stopped running because it saw no more signs of bright light in its face. We shot that in the entity. It, it, the thing blew back, and the little bit was showing no signs of pain. More of my men got injured, and we even killed by it. Dr. Redacted. The launcher only blew it. It was short a little bit, but it was coming back at your men. What did you do to contain it? Crazy 2-1. Yeah, after blowing the bullets into that thing, Crazy 99 issued a smart way to get on it into the containment. We set up a small cage and took it out of our APC to get the thing in. Through it had to look like someone was in there in order for Entity 6 to fall into the trap. So Crazy 03 stood behind the cage quickly, and the idiotic thing ran like a mouse looking for a cheese in a person's home. We quickly shut the door and for the trap and issued Black Hawk redacted to take it away to site redacted. Thank God it wasn't our site. I wouldn't want to see it again. Crazy 2-1 is seen putting his hands on his head, remembering the man who died is trying to contain Entity 6. I'm sorry for your losers. That's what we needed. You can't rest now. End log.